Hey guys, welcome back to Disney Coffee and Book Talk. I'm your host, Alex. How are you guys? So, I really wanted to highlight some of the Spark Shorts. We will eventually be talking more about these, but to give a little bit of insight, the Spark Shorts are from the Pixar animators, but they are not necessarily linked to any theory directly. Hear me out. It is because these are special projects to the animators. They get approved. They are the special projects. They're allowed to work on it, and a lot of the Spark Shorts revolve, evolve, or revolve. My gosh, I can't speak today. Making too much content. Center, that's a better word, identity and what that looks like, and parts of identity. And so self is an interesting concept with the idea of how much of yourself are you willing to give up to look completely different, right? Part of it to me was like, watching this was she had the idea of she saw the grass is greener on the other side and she wants to keep up with the Joneses and it looks, different and she's would be considered quote unquote not the norm, right? Um, I also want to say that when we say not the norm, a lot of that idea is Eurocentric. Um, Even though what does that actually look like worldwide? Right? It's vastly different. And I think that coming into yourself and recognizing that you don't have to compare yourself to other people, especially, we're talking more on the outside, but even on the inside, you don't have to change yourself for any person. I don't think that people are going to necessarily be 100% themselves. Like they're going to change for themselves. Yes, you can always strive to be a better person, but does that mean you have to give up an arm or a leg, for example? We're talking physically in this clip, but let's mention metaphorically as well. How much of that are you willing to give up to assimilate? And I feel like this short really wants to challenge that idea. Now, I could be totally wrong, right? The whole idea of media, any form of media, whether it's a painting or a portrait or a movie, a short, a book, etc., is to get people talking and, everyone's going to have their ideas. So I pose this question before we get into the concept of whether this is could be related to any theory or not. As I said, the Spark Shorts are not directly related, but are there running themes? Sure. How much are you willing to give up for yourself to try to fit in with what's considered the standards, right? Um, and that could look vastly different from place to place, but again, the concept is how much are you willing to do that to look like everyone else, to act like everyone else, instead of wanting to be someone that is unique and be more true to yourself. Now, again, we're about to dive in. I will say that while this, again, is not related directly to any movie or theory, I can, however, see the idea that the animator was inspired by Pinocchio. Because, yes, we do have dolls, a wooden doll who becomes a girl, right? A girl, the concept of Pinocchio becoming a real life boy and fulfilling the fantasy for Geppetto of being a parent. And what that looks like, and how Pinocchio then turns back into um, a wooden doll. But in this short, like I was saying, um, uh, there there isn't so much an outside influence of wanting to be real. Like she's not. It's an Geppetto would be the external force in this instance, like of Pinocchio. Um, and also like there are other characters, Jiminy Cricket as his conscious, etc. But in this short, it's more of a internal. And I also want to say that it's very interesting in this short that because she was different and didn't have anything similar to everyone around her, people weren't willing to look her way and attempt to communicate. And it wasn't until she was assimilating to what they look like and etc. that they were more willing to be open with her. And I find that problematic in many ways. Um, I'm trying to like give an example. For me, this, if I were to put this into like actual, our real life, um, it really reminded me of like what racism could look like, right? We know that there's different acts of racism, both systematically and individually. But the with looking at it and the treatment of her and the segregation and not trying to understand and the assimilation, like there's just so much of like in your face. And that's why I think that these shorts are really important, but also can really make us have deeper conversations. All right, now that's enough said. We're going to dive right into the Easter eggs theories. So, as I was saying, this is part of the Spark Shorts series. And here we have a young girl who is wooden, and everyone looks completely different. And as she's comparing herself, she's asking to look more and more like the people around her. And she does this until she looks completely different and then doesn't even recognize herself. And it seems like by the end of the short, she really regrets this. That's all I have for you guys today. I will see you guys tomorrow for another short.